Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we're going to be having a look at a promo Jolteon. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We've been digging through over the past week or so, looking at all the new cards from Tag Bolt over in Japan. And many of them are good. This isn't from Tag Bolt. This is a promo, you can see by the little mark on it. And I really like this Jolteon. We don't know when we're going to be getting it. Mostly these kind of promos in Japan end up as blister promos, but we cannot say for certain. But ladies and gentlemen, I love it. So, what we have here is some rather nice basics. First of all, and I should say our translation comes from the lovely David Hochmann, because, you know, who else? First of all, the free retreat should stand out here as pretty gosh darned awesome. Weakness to fighting is not ideal because stuff like Buzzwole is running around. And we've got a resistance to metal, which if Quad Registeel ever does get good, it probably won't, but if it ever does, you're sorted. And the 90 HP is honestly low, but I don't know, maybe one day Level Ball will come back. But you've got free retreat and you're a lightning type. And lightning type means you have electro power to do extra damage. That's pretty sweet. It means you've got Thunder Mountain to reduce the attack cost by 1 lightning energy. That's pretty sweet. And you've got Eevee because, of course, you are an evolution. So if you attach a lightning energy to this, you can get it up and rolling very, very quickly indeed. And as short as I'm trying to keep these intros lately, I've got to mention that Jolteon-GX is crushing in Japan at the moment. The number one deck in Japan at the moment, although it might be changing with the new set coming out, but at the moment, it's Zapdos Jirachi, and more often than not, although only very slightly, these are actually played with Jolteon-GX. And if Jolteon-GX is seeing play, and it is, this could fit in very nicely. So more on that in a minute. For the time being, the ability says that when it's active, if your opponent attaches an energy from their hand to one of their Pokemon, you put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. Now this won't get everything. If you accelerate energy from the discard using something like a Malamar or a Naganadel, both of which are seeing an awful lot of play right now, then you're not attaching from your hand. But if you come across something like a Magnezone deck, for instance, which accelerates an awful lot of energy from the hand, and of course does come in both lightning and metal flavors, they will have to take a damage counter every single time that they do. I mean, potentially your opponent could abuse this to get unknown damage. They win the game if they've got that in the active and 66 damage counters on the bench. But I would think that's rather unlikely. Plus, Jolteon's got free retreat, just get it out the active. So this is a really nice ability, and it's not going to do a huge amount. Similarly, something like Beastring wouldn't count here because you're essentially accelerating from the deck rather than from your hand. What you will do here is just bring Pokemon down a little bit. And remember that you're using electro power like you will be for all these lightning decks, and this can add up very, very quickly indeed. Your opponent attaches an energy, and you play an electro power, and there's a choice band on Jolteon, and then all of a sudden, that's 80 damage. Now, that's 80 damage plus whatever you're doing with the attack. That's 80 damage before you've even started. That is quite phenomenal here. But I suppose what we really need to do is talk about the attack, and then we can double back and look more at the ability in a moment. So the attack here, for 1 lightning, 1 colorless energy, does 90 damage. And then you discard all energy from this Pokemon. That's a little bit of a pain, but it's not the end of the world. We can deal with this, ladies and gentlemen. It's alright. We'd like more. We can live with this. So 90 damage as it stands is good. I mean, if we use my example from a moment ago, your opponent attaches an energy, 20 damage. You play an Electro Power, 30 damage. You play a Choice Band, 30 damage. Plus the 90 from this, that's 170. That's a Tapu Lele being KO'd in a 1 hit by a non-GX Pokemon for 2 energy, but 2 very much in quotation fingers. And that's what I really like about this. You can do lots and lots of damage for little energy, on a Pokemon that's only giving up one prize when it gets KO'd. And in terms of the energy here, this is not a massive investment by any stretch of the imagination. I've already mentioned Thunder Mountain. Now, there is an argument here, right? Because Thunder Mountain is a phenomenal card. So there is an argument here that it's not the best use for it. There's an argument that something like Zeraora or Jolteon-GX might be a better option for this. Okay. But even so, this is still a pretty gosh darn good thing to do. That'll bring the attack down to 1 colorless. If you're behind on prizes, you can use Counter Gain to bring it down to 1 lightning energy, or even use Counter Gain and Thunder Mountain to do it for free. And we've got Tapu Koko Prism Star. This is one of the most ridiculous things that we have for lightning Pokemon at the moment. Now, I say we, this is coming out in Team Up, but Japan has it. And this is just a flat-out one-of in any lightning deck. Now, I'll pop a link in the description like I always try and do. But essentially, when it's on the bench, you can pop it in the Lost Zone, and then you get to attach 1 energy from the discard, Basic Lightning, to each of 2 benched Pokemon. That is utterly over-the-top great. And this leads you to a turn 1 attack with Jolteon here. You attach an energy, and then you got to attach an energy so you can evolve Eevee into Jolteon turn 1 using the Energy Evolution ability. And then if you use Tapu Koko, that's the second energy right there and then, and you're off. And then you're hitting 90 on turn 1, except it's not 90. It's 90 plus Electro Power plus Choice Band, and then your opponent might be in this position where they want to attack with a Pokemon, but actually if they do so, I mean, let's take something like a Tapu Koko, just the regular one with Flying Flip. If you hit it for 90, so no Choice Band, because obviously it's a non-GX, no Electro Power, nothing like that, you just hit it for 90. Your opponent cannot attach to this to use Flying Flip without KOing it. So now they've got to retreat into a different Pokemon. And that's one of the things this ability does so beautifully. It forces your opponent into super awkward situations. They can't attach an energy without putting them in harm's way. Now, of course, they can always use something like a Guzma or an Escape Rope to try and get your Jolteon out of the active, but now they're using resources to get your non-GX tech Pokemon out of the active so they don't have cheeky damage done. As far as I'm concerned, if that's what's happening, you're winning this exchange. And everything on this card adds up to awesome. You've got the combination of the ability, and look, in a format where Electro Power is great and does 30 extra damage, and Choice Band is great and does 30 extra damage, an ability that often does 20, bearing in mind that's the same as a Decidueye Feather Arrow. That is really quite redonkulously good. And then you've got this attack, 90 for 2 energy is really good. And you've got the Energy Evolution Eevee, and it's got free retreat. There is a lot to like here. Now, obviously, Jolteon-GX is kind of over-the-top, ridiculously good. It is crushing in Japan at the moment. First attack, 30 to the active, 30 to one on the bench for 1 energy. Second attack, 110 for 2 energy. And obviously, 110 for 2 energy is better than 90 for 2 energy, and you have to discard them. But the thing is, we're talking about a non-GX with a really annoying ability. It gives up 1 prize. So to be honest here, if you can get the damage, if you can get the attack off, if you can get the KO with non-GX Jolteon, there is a real argument to do that rather than use the GX. Now, the other thing we've got to bear in mind, and it is a significant thing here, you lose the energy. You've got to discard the energy. And yeah, we've got ways to accelerate the energy. We've got Tapu Koko, we've got Thunder Mountain, etc. But actually, it's not the most reliable type to accelerate at the moment. It's not like Psychic with Malamar decks. So too many attacks with the non-GX Jolteon could leave you in trouble just in terms of having enough energy for later in the game. Because although Jolteon's first attack is good, and it is, both these Jolteon really thrive on having 2 energy attached. But that really is about the biggest downside. we've got a really good non-GX with a great ability, a really nice attack, free retreat that we can get going in one turn with all the advantages of lightning Pokemon that fit really neatly into an existing archetype. That is about as much as we can ask for. I'm giving this 4 Wassies. The only thing I don't like about this is that it does do a little bit less damage than Jolteon with a little bit less HP, but again, it only gives up 1 prize. And the fact that discarding the energy could end up being an issue in the late game because you end up discarding more energy than you'd like and having to use Jolteon-GX's first attack. But make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen, this is a good Pokemon that I like very much indeed, and you should too. So there we go. But I want to know if you like it or whether I'm just being overly presumptuous. Might I suggest you go nuts in the comment section while politely requesting that you be nice? Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, other than checking out youtube.com/WassiePlays for some more Wassie action, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.